What's going on, everybody? Will Murphy here with Iron Will Fitness. Today's video is going to be about free weights versus machines. As far as machines go, machines are basically on a track. You're basically limited to one particular range of motion with them. There's not a lot of variation at all as far as the direction they go. They're pretty linear. But with free weights, dumbbells, and barbells and things like that, you have more destabilization going on with it. So your body has to work to stabilize itself and the weight in order to lift the weight properly. So you're bringing in stabilization muscles that you're not bringing in when you're using machines. Typically, I prescribe machines to people that don't quite have the ability to stabilize themselves during a workout, and recommend yoga for learning how to control your body before you move on to free weights. Machines are typically pin loaded or something like that, where you take a pin out and you put it in a weight stack and you choose a weight based on the weight that it says on the stack. Usually they go up in 15 to 20 pound intervals. With dumbbells and barbells and things like that, you can go up in as little as 5 to 10 pound intervals. With dumbbells especially, sometimes you can go up in 2.5 pound intervals. With machines though, you usually got to find, they usually have little blocks in the gym that will help you increase the weight by 5 pounds instead of 15, so you can go up in 5 pound intervals with a machine. But typically machines, they're not the best for building all over muscle. They're pretty good for isolation and things like that, but they're not really great for compound movements where stabilization muscles would come into play, such as, like, if you're doing leg press, you're not going to have the stabilization muscles in play that you would have in a squat, because the leg press is back supported. So your back is supported in a position, and you don't have to worry about using the muscles in your back to stabilize your body throughout the movement like you would if you're doing a squat with just a barbell on your back, or even just a body weight squat, because your body would have to turn on the stabilization muscles in the core to keep you from going either forward or backwards or side to side. In a leg press, you don't have to worry about that. Your body stays in one position, your legs stay in one position, and you just push the weight. Same with, like, a leg extension, or even just a biceps curl machine. It's the same thing. With dumbbells and free weights, you can reach out to the side and you can come up from the side. You can come in across the midline and things like that without having to change your position. In a machine, you'd have to turn yourself sideways to get the same kind of thing, and generally those machines aren't made for that, so it's not really conducive to choosing different directions for weights and hitting different angles. As far as your exercises go, I like to play with angles, and I like to hit like outside bicep curls, inside bicep curls, things like that, to hit, not to necessarily like target one part of the bicep over the other, but to put more emphasis on that part of the bicep. So like if you're standing and looking in a mirror and you're curling with your arm to the outside, whatever you can see in the mirror is probably what you're working. So with your arm to the outside, you're working more of the inside of the bicep. With your arm more to the inside, you're working more of the outside of the bicep. Whatever you can see in the mirror is pretty much what you're working with that kind of lift. But the point is that with machines, you're pretty much stuck to a linear space. You don't really have a lot of option as in left or right or forward or back motion. You just have one direction that you're going with the machine. With the dumbbells, it could go either way, to the side, it could go up, it could go down, and your body has to stabilize and plan for that, and use your stabilization muscles to correct that and help you control that weight a little bit more. You don't have as much control problem with machines. I do recommend that beginners start with dumbbells and things like that, lighter weight dumbbells, and learn to control their movement through different ranges of motion and different angles. But if you're just starting out as a beginner and you're wanting to get in there and get some weights lifted and you're wanting to lift heavier, machines are going to be, safer for you to use. But you do want to work a little bit with free weights. Typically, for my beginners in this beginner program, it's a mixture of free weights and machines. So you have, different options. Now, there are machines that have like handles that have cables, and those are a little bit more conducive to like hitting different angles and things like that. But for the most part, most of them have arms, and they can be either unilateral or bilateral, where you have to press with both hands at the same time. That's bilateral. Or you can use one arm or one leg at a time. That's unilateral. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot of option when it comes to machines as far as the options you have when it comes to dumbbells. You can get an entire workout done with just dumbbells. Like typically, there's things that you just can't do with machines that you can do with dumbbells and things like that, and barbells. So, it's really all up to you. Starting out, I would have a mixture of machines and dumbbells. Eventually you can move, or machines and free weights. Eventually you can move to mainly free weights, but there'll always be a use for some machines as far as it's all concerned. Especially if you're wanting to isolate any areas of your body, like you're wanting to isolate the biceps. Machines are a good choice. Because you typically bicep machines are somewhat like preacher curls, where you set the back of your arm on something and it's held in position while you work just the bicep, and you're not working any other muscles or bringing in any other muscles from another muscle group to help with that. So in that respect, machines are good because they're good for isolation and really paying attention to just one muscle without having to worry about bringing in extra muscle groups. That's where free weights kind of lack. If you get used too much weight in a free weight for a smaller muscle group, the next largest muscle group nearby has a tendency to take over. So, let's say you're trying to work your shoulder, and your chest comes into play when you're doing front raises or something like that, because you've got way too much weight and your chest is helping you move that weight. Your shoulder's not an inherently strong muscle, so the muscles surrounding it, especially if you're like doing rear delts or something like that, will come into play and might take away from the amount of stress you're putting on the muscle that you're trying to hit. So just keep those things in mind when you're choosing whether you want to use free weights or machines. And if you need any help with any of that, you can go ahead and hit me up. Shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram. Shoot me a message on YouTube. Comment your question, and I'll get to you and try to help you as best as I can. And let me know if you're liking these videos. Just throw a like up there. You don't have to say anything. Just throw me a like so I know that people are watching this and enjoying it and getting something out of it, because that's going to help me, understand what you want to see, and what videos I can put out and help you more with everything. And plus, having the likes and things lets me know that what I'm doing is being seen and being enjoyed, and you're finding it helpful and things like that. So I'll continue to do it if I'm getting likes and stuff. But if nobody's paying any attention, I find it kind of discouraging. It doesn't mean I'll stop, but I find it kind of discouraging if I feel like nobody's paying attention. So if nothing else, just throw a like on there. If you really like it, share it to your friends and things like that. Let them see it. Help me reach more people. You can find me on Instagram at IronWillPT. You can find me on Facebook at Iron Will Fitness Training. You can find me on the internet at ironwillfitnesstraining.com. And you can find me on YouTube at Iron Will Fitness. Give me a holler if you need any help, and we'll see you tomorrow. I'll have workouts up for you here later on. Peace out.
We'll be starting off the beginner overweight obese program today with a leg extension. Remember to set the machine up properly with your knees directly across from the pivot point and the ankle pad sitting just above your feet and just below your shins. Set in the machine and choose the weight you'd like to use. Put your feet behind the ankle pad. and begin by straightening your legs to the top of the movement, squeezing your quads for just a second, and then returning slowly with control back to the start of the movement. Repeat these steps for reps, and let's get 3 sets of 10 reps for this exercise. Our second exercise is going to be the seated leg curl. To do this movement, make sure that the machine is set up so that your knees are directly across from the pivot point, and the ankle pad is set up so that it's just above your heels and just below your calf muscles. To begin this exercise, sit down in the machine and set the knee pad down on your knees to hold your knees in place. Select the weight that you'd like to use, and begin by curling your legs down, squeezing your hamstrings when you reach the bottom of the movement, and then returning to the top slowly with control. Repeat these steps for reps, and let's do 3 sets of 10 reps for this exercise. Next up, we have the machine chest press. To do this movement, make sure that the machine is set up the way you want it. Sit down in the seat so that your feet are flat on the floor. Select the weight that you'd like to use. Put your hands on the handles with your elbows directly behind your wrists and your shoulder blades pulled back and pinched together as if trying to hold a pencil in between them. Keep them that way. Begin the movement by pressing the weight straight out all the way until your arms are fully extended, keeping your shoulder blades back behind you. In that pinched position, squeeze in the chest, and then return slowly back to the beginning of the movement with control. You got 3 sets of 10 reps for this exercise. Next, we have the machine seated row. To begin this movement, select the weight that you'd like to use. Grab the handles and sit down on the seat with your feet on the platforms. And begin by pulling your shoulder blades back and pulling your elbows as far behind you as you can go, keeping it straight back the entire time. Once your elbows are all the way behind you, squeeze for just 1 second in your back, and then return slowly with control to the front of the movement. You'll have 3 sets of 10 reps for this exercise. Finally, we'll be walking for 20 minutes for the end of our exercise. You can walk or you can do some kind of water sport or really any activity as long as your joints can handle it. Just as long as your heart rate stays up and you are getting the required amount of time in for your walking/cardio. Have a good day. I hope you had a great workout, and we'll see you tomorrow. Our first exercise for the beginner program today is going to be the chest supported row. We're going to use a wide grip. You'll lay down on a chest supported row like this one and take the weighted bar and lift it out of the safety mechanism and lower it down directly in front of you. Begin by retracting your shoulder blades and pulling the weight all the way up with your elbows coming behind you as far as you can take them. Squeeze for just a second and then return slowly with control to the front position, allowing your shoulder blades to come apart and your back to stretch. Repeat these steps for reps, and we'll have 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps for this exercise. Our next exercise is going to be the dumbbell incline chest press. To do this movement, select 2 dumbbells of equal weight. Lay down on an incline bench or a bench that can be set up to be inclined. Pinch your shoulder blades behind you with the weight directly above your head, and then begin by lowering the weight down to your chest and then pressing back to the top of the movement and squeezing your chest once you're at the top, making sure that your shoulder blades are pinched behind you the entire time throughout this movement and that you keep them pinched back even when you're at the top of the movement. We'll have 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps for this exercise. Our next movement is going to be the cable underhand grip pull down. To do this movement, select the weight that you'd like to use. Select the bar that you can use an underhand grip about shoulder width apart. And begin by sitting down in the seat with your hands on the bar in an underhand grip fashion. You're going to retract your shoulder blades and pull your elbows down as far as you can, trying to bring them behind your back at the bottom of the movement, and then return slowly with control to the top of the movement and let your shoulder blades come apart and your back stretch at the top, and then repeat these steps for reps. We'll have 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps for this exercise. Our next movement is going to be the Arnold Press. To do this movement, take 2 dumbbells of equal weight and hold them in the top position of a curl. This is your starting position. Begin by bringing your elbows out to the sides and then pressing the weight over your head, and then return down with your elbows to your sides and turn the elbows in back to the top of a curl. Repeat these steps for reps, and we'll have 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps for this exercise. Next up, we have the cable triceps pushdown using a rope attachment. Make sure that you spread the rope at the bottom of the movement. To begin this movement, grab a hold of the rope and bring your elbows down to your sides. Begin by straightening your arms all the way to the bottom until they're fully extended. Squeeze your triceps for just a second and then return slowly with control back to the top of the movement. Repeat these steps for reps, and we'll have 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps for this exercise. Now we have the cable biceps curl. To do this movement, you'll need a straight bar or an easy bar attachment for the cable, and you'll need the pulley to be at the bottom of the cable tower. Attach the bar to the cable and select the weight that you'd like to use, and begin with your arms in a straightened position down in front of you and the bar in your hands, and your elbows slightly in front of your hips if you can help it. And then begin by curling the weight up to the top of the movement. Squeeze at the top for just a second, and then lower with control back to the bottom and your arms fully extended. Repeat these steps for reps, and we'll have 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps for this exercise. For our ab exercise today, we have the bicycle crunch. Begin by laying flat on the floor with your feet just off the floor, and your arms can be either by your head, or you can do it like I'm doing it here, where you're just bringing your elbow to your opposite knee. Begin by bringing one leg up and bringing the opposite elbow to that knee, and then let the leg back down and lay back down flat on your back at the same time. Bring the other leg up and bring the opposite elbow to that leg, and then straighten everything back out and repeat these steps for reps. You'll have 4 sets of 10 to 15 reps per side for this exercise. Don't forget to finish your work off with 20 minutes of cardio. You can do what I'm doing here, which is you can design a little circuit and go through it real quick. Just spend 20 minutes with it, make sure it gets your heart rate up. You could get on any cardio machine in the entire gym. You could go swimming, you could go for a run outside, you could go ride your bike outside, you can run around the track. Just anything that gets your heart rate up and keeps you moving for 20 minutes. Make sure that you get it all done. I hope you had a great workout. Hope you had a great day, and we'll see you soon. Our first exercise for our intermediates today is going to be the barbell overhead press. To do this movement, load a barbell up with the weight that you'd like to use. You can do it in a power rack like I'm doing, or you can find a bench like the one I've used in previous week's videos to do this exercise. Lift the weight off the rack and step back into position. Begin with the weight at your chest and begin by pressing all the way up over your head until your arms are fully extended. Squeeze your shoulders at the top of the movement and then lower slowly with control back to your chest. Repeat these steps for reps and you'll have 4 sets of 6 to 10 reps for this exercise. Make sure that you don't lean back. If you start to lean back too much in your movement, you need to lower the weight so you don't wind up causing injury to your lower back. Our next exercise is going to be the dumbbell side lateral raise. To do this exercise, you'll need 2 dumbbells of equal weight, holding them in each hand at your sides. Begin by engaging your shoulders and lifting the weight up to the top, which should be directly across from your shoulders. Squeeze for just a second at the top of the movement, and then lower slowly with control back to your sides. Repeat these steps for reps, and we'll have 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps for this exercise. The next exercise we have is the cable front delt raise. To do this movement, make sure that the pulley for the cable is at the bottom of the cable tower, and that you have a straight bar or an easy bar that you can use to do this movement. Take the bar in your hands and step over the cable so that the cable runs in between your legs. Then you'll begin by lifting the weight straight up with your arms straight until your elbows are directly in front of your shoulders. From there, you'll lower the weight slowly with control back to the starting position, and then repeat these steps for reps. We'll have 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps for this exercise. Our final shoulder exercise today is going to be the machine rear delt fly. You can do this in a chest fly machine. Usually the arms are capable of moving back so that you can turn around and do a rear delt fly. Set the machine so that you can do the rear delt fly and set down in the machine with your chest up against the back pad. And begin by placing your hands on the handles and then spreading the weight apart. Don't think of it like you're moving it to your back. Think of it like you're spreading it as far apart as you can. Once your elbows have reached right across from your shoulders, go ahead and return to the front of the movement slowly with control. If your elbows come behind your shoulders, you're going to be bringing in a little bit of extra back. We'll have 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps for this exercise. Our first ab movement today is going to be the medicine ball pass. To do this movement, take the medicine ball in your hands and lay flat on the floor with your hands above your head and your feet just off the floor. Begin by bringing your knees up and your hands up towards your feet with the ball in your hands. Set the ball on top of your legs, straighten your legs and straighten your hands above your head. Then return by bringing your knees up and your hands toward the ball. Pick the ball up off your feet and bring the ball over your head. That's 1 rep. Today we'll have 5 sets of 6 to 10 reps for this exercise. Our second ab exercise today is going to be the medicine ball Russian twist. It's basically a weighted Russian twist, so you can use any weight that you like. I just prefer to use a medicine ball for this movement. You're going to balance yourself on your butt with your feet off the floor and your back raised up. This is going to tighten up your abs. And begin by touching the ball to either side of you. Once you've touched it to both sides and brought it back up to the center, that's 1 rep. So you're going to do 5 sets of 10 to 15 reps per side of this exercise. For our calf exercise today, we have the seated calf raise. To begin this movement, load whatever weight you'd like to use onto a calf raise machine. And begin with your balls of your feet on the platform and your knees underneath the knee pad. Raise the machine off of the safety lever and begin by lowering your heels below the platform, stretching your calves at the bottom, and then squeezing your calves and bringing yourself all the way up onto your tiptoes, squeezing your calves at the top, and then repeating for reps. We'll have 5 sets of 15 to 20 reps for this exercise today. Don't forget to get in 20 minutes of cardio before you leave the gym today. Either that, or if you're leaving the gym to go and do cardio, you can go to the park. You can run, you can ride your bike, you can go for a swim, or you could, use any cardio machine in the gym. You can box like I'm doing right here. There's all kinds of different options for you to keep your heart rate up and really burn as many calories as you can at the end of your workout. I hope you had a great day. I hope you had a great workout, and we'll see you tomorrow.